This is the Loving versus Virginia case on interracial marriages. In 1858, there was a couple in Virginia who wanted to get married. The man's name was Richard Loving, who was white, and the woman's name was Mildred Jeter, who was African American. They traveled to Washington, D.C. for their marriage and were arrested when they returned to Virginia. There was a state law that prohibited interracial marriages involving a white person. They were sentenced to 1 year in jail. The couple thought this violated their 14th Amendment rights because an all-white couple would be allowed to get married. They appealed to the Supreme Court, who took their case. The question was, did Virginia's law against certain types of interracial marriages violate the 14th Amendment? Every justice on the Supreme Court agreed that Virginia's law was unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment. The court's decision was based off of the equal protection and due process clauses of the 14th Amendment. The Equal Protection Clause states that all people are to be treated equally, regardless of their race. The Virginia law was supposedly created to protect racial integrity, which meant avoiding the mixing of races. But the law only applied to interracial marriages involving a white person. Chief Justice Earl Warren quotes that it was obviously an endorsement of white supremacy. The Supreme Court concluded that it was unconstitutional because it was putting one race over another. Another clause that affected the court's decision was the Due Process Clause. It prohibits taking away the liberty of any person. The Supreme Court decided that marriage counts as a basic civil right of man, and race was not a good enough reason to take it away. The main way this court case affects our society today is that all interracial couples can legally get married. States can still have laws on marriages, but none that involve race. This case also shows us the mindset of the Supreme Court and can help us predict their decisions in the future. Based on their interpretations of the Due Process Clause, they are likely to challenge laws that put restrictions on marriage. The Loving versus Virginia case was a very important court case. It was based on the equal protection and due process clauses of the 14th Amendment. It affects us today because interracial marriages are legal, and we know the mindset of the Supreme Court. And that is the Loving versus Virginia case on interracial marriages.